that's what's in the books, is being strong enough to stand your ground, to accept the decisions you have to make while you are in survival mode, to accept that that doesn't speak to anything but strength, and anyone who tells you otherwise is wrong. And it talks about the trauma, both the incredible power you feel through adrenaline and etc. when you do make that decision, and the crash that comes after. And my books talk about the stillness, the quiet that you need after, the slowness of healing, and the acceptance that even if you are attracted to aspects that were used in abuse, when you're with someone who respects you at a fundamental human level and does everything out of love and consent, there is no abuse, and there can't be. And I wanted to write the dichotomy of that.
Wow.
And so that's the Temple Brothers.
Hey guys, we do want to advise listener discretion on this one. This episode contains discussions of domestic abuse, coercive control, trauma, infertility, and mental health. What starts as a conversation with a romance author turns into a deeply emotional, unexpectedly raw journey with side quests we absolutely didn't see coming. So take care of yourself while listening. This one hits pretty hard.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Erika.
And I'm Sarah. This is the Living Understaffed podcast, the chaos we can't clock out of. Note to self, my voice is absolute dog shit. I'm coming down off of an upper respiratory infection, and I'm way better than I was a week ago. I actually got sick while I was in Vegas at work and had to miss a couple of days of work, and felt like we've all been there, where we put a lot of ourselves into our work and our effort and our job, and then you miss work because you're actually sick and there's actually something wrong, but you still feel like an entire piece of shit because you're not there and you're not working. Awful. And I was in a smoking casino, which I think I have some kind of like weird allergy to smoke. And so I'm in a smoking casino on the hotel side, dying in my hotel room by myself, and room service was so expensive that I refused to buy it. So I didn't have medicine or tea or anything other than just the hot water out of the faucet for 2 days before I flew home. And then I found out I had a double ear infection after I got home, and both of my ears popped on 2 different flights. And I was like, I love this for me. And then I proceeded to die for the last week. I told Erika, I have slept more in the last week than I think I have in my entire life.
What she means by that is that she actually slept a full 8 hours.
More than. I truly think there was at one point that I slept a straight 12 hours and I woke up and didn't know what day it was. Like, it was daytime when I fell asleep, and it was 2 a.m. when I woke up. Brutal.
I love that for you, though.
So now I'm drinking tea out of my tiny Lowe's bucket because it's
I love that so much.
They have Buc-ee's ones too, but they're like limited edition. We have to find them.
Oh, yeah, we do.
It's so bad.
Buc-ee's or Daisy has a Buc-ee's sweatshirt that I bought her.
I'll superimpose it in the video so people can also enjoy it. Erika, how's your week been? My week has been understaffed in a sense of like health. Like, my white blood cell count has been in hell. So I'm slowly building that up, thank God. But that's pretty much all I've been doing. What about you? Understaffed?
Obviously. I've had a lot of like unfun adult things that I have to do that I just don't want to do, and I've had to do, which is terrible. But I do feel accomplished. Like, I'm taking a notary public class next week to be a notary in North Carolina, and I had to like buy a book for it, and I have to like register because it's through like a community college, and it's like those are just basic things that aren't going to take a very long time, but I've been procrastinating because I don't want to do it. I did finally get a court date to file for divorce because in North Carolina, it is a whole fucking process. And I fell down the stairs, a life alert style, for no reason. Like I just fell. And now my shoulder really hurts because I'm old.
Not that
Uh,
I'm laughing at you, but more of like I want you to go see a chiropractor, but I also am like laughing because the number of times that I've like gotten up out of bed recently and like my foot hurts so bad that I can't walk that I'm like, I'll just ignore that pain and it'll go away.
yes.
Not because I'm getting older. What
I've
do you
had a
mean?
pain in my shoulder for like probably a month, and I was like, this is fine. I don't need to address this at all. It'll just go away on its own.
I have no physical problems. I am actually invincible. Thank you so much. I will
Yes.
not be taking comment on it either. Thank you.
No. Yeah. Just and I've been getting really into sourdough because you know what you do when you have a bunch of things on your plate already? Get super
Add more
into a
things.
hobby that doesn't actually help any of those things. That's
Yeah,
um
100%.
so
Well, we have a guest on today's episode. This is Elle Sparrow. She is an indie romance author, a professional heart-wrencher, and the certified dealer of just one more chapter. It's the lie we tell ourselves at night with good writing. She had a plot twist of her own after the pandemic, switched careers and has basically been like, cool, I guess the pandemic shut the world down. I guess I'll just become a full-time author. It's fine. But then it proceeded to build entire worlds packed with spice and dynamics and messy feelings and characters that I'm low-key in love with and storylines that I want more of. So, if you like bold romance, a little wicked, emotionally devastating in all of the best ways, we are about to wreck your TBR, and you're welcome. So, Elle, welcome to Living Understaffed. We are undercaffeinated and oversharing today because that's just kind of what we do. How are you? How have you been living the understaffed life recently?
I feel like it has been minute by minute, and that's about as much as I can handle in any given moment.
Feel that.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, it's kind of minute by minute, and I think it's a pretty shared experience right now. It's just overwhelm.
yeah.
Yeah. And we this is actually the second date that we have had Elle on the calendar. The first one, hot mess express. Like I'm still adjusting to my my career switch basically since moving to Texas, and Erika's job just continuously adds more and more to her plate with the government hiring freeze. So it's like everything that we've been doing has just been an absolute shit show. So I do apologize to you for that because it's just been crazy with scheduling just for her and I, and then trying to get a third person schedule built into that has been nuts. But what with your writing, let's talk about the pandemic, right? So you were what did it say? You were a paralegal before the pandemic and then okay. So how was that transition?
That transition honestly went really well. My
Oh.
employer was incredibly supportive, and we were working from home at the time. But when we transitioned back into the office, pretty shortly after that, I started cutting back hours because my writing career was starting to take off a little bit more. And then there was a big shift that happened when I was ready to kind of hit the official, I'm a part-time employee now. Like I'm going to like half-time hours. Like that's a big move, a scary move. And then in the course of a couple of weeks, the needs of the place that I worked changed. And all of a sudden I was jobless in 48 hours.
Oh,
And like it was what needed to happen for the business. But it was a moment where my husband and I kind of had to stop and say, like, okay, we've got two choices here. I can go back into the workforce and kind of put writing to the side because I can't start a new career at a new place and give it my all and continue doing what I'm doing, writing, and keep any level of sanity. So I can do that, or we could risk it. We could give it 12 months, see what happens, and I give my all, everything I've got to this. And so that's what we chose. And now I'm sitting here 2 years later. I've got 20 books published in 5 years, and it was the best decision I ever made.
It's pretty incredible. I met Elle, was that over a year and a half ago, from the first Lit and Libations that I went to with Meg Becker. Beautiful table setup, like huge, beautiful display, and she was beautifully dressed and gorgeous, and and what was the theme of Lit and Libations from 2024?
Ooh,
The first one, I think.
2024?
I don't remember the theme.
I don't either. I know the next one was Alice in Wonderland, and this last one was Great Gatsby.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Yeah. Meg invited me. I don't remember if she invited me last minute or if I just went to Kansas City last minute because I wanted to. But that was when I first met you. And then Erika and I, of course, met you at the Alice in Wonderland Lit and Libations. And then I've seen you again, obviously, at The Great Gatsby. So I picked up one of your books that first year, that first event that I went to. And then I got the audiobook download from you this last time. And let me tell you, I love reading. I have like 5 different books that are like constantly going at the same time, which is a chronic problem. Because there's also like cross stitch and crochet and sewing that I'm doing all at the same time too. It makes perfect sense. It's totally fine. But like the bits and stuff that I listen to in between, because there's different flavors, right? I don't know about any of our listeners, but for me, it's like I have this psychological thriller, and then I have this fantasy, fae, whatever, and then I have this erotica, and then I have this and this and this. And it's like these different flavors that I'm like, what am I feeling tonight? All right, let me pick up some monster romance. Cool. So the bits that I have been like listening to in the last few months, delicious, like super delicious. So was there a reason that you decided to get into more of like the romance side of things, or is that just kind of what you gravitated towards?
I've been a romance reader since I was probably too young to be reading spicy romance.
Same. We've
I
all
feel
been
like
there.
was a thing with my generation. We had a little unrestricted access to adult books. But I fell in love with the romance genre, the escapism of it, the fantasy of it. Even if you're not in a fantasy genre, the fantasy of like having this like, kind of windswept moment where you're swept away in romance with this person. The drama, the intrigue, the fact that it kind of transcends multiple other genres. Romance can have its hand in a lot of different areas. And so it's versatile. And it's a big playground, which is a lot of fun, especially for a creative person who seems to be a lot like you. I'm literally like, in my closet is full of like yarn of half-finished crochet projects. I've got a watercolor kit that I've only opened once in my drawer over here. And of course, yesterday I did a deep dive on how to make your own yarn because I don't have enough going on in my life.
I can help you with that. If that, yeah, I can help you with that. I have recently inherited an entire hoarder's dream of craft supplies, and my mother, well, incredible being relative, my love. My mother got a dealer of wool and had started to make her own yarn and had it copyrighted. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the copyright came back the day after she died. So it was like, cool. Love that I get to deal with all of the aftermath of this. Love that for me. So if you need help with learning how to make your own yarn, let me know. And dyeing, and Erika, you were talking about baking and like the science behind all of the ingredients and the different things. Dyeing wool is the same type of thing because you have to get the right colors and you have to get the right consistency and you have to get the right things. So, yeah. Anyway.
But romance, I felt was the same kind of way, and I'd read it for so long. I had gotten myself into a bit of a funk, which I think most readers, especially in romance, do. We're like good for like a long while, and then this thing happens, and we're like, I don't know that I want to touch a book for a month. Like, I don't know that I want to read at all. And unbeknownst to me at the time, I had not yet been diagnosed as an autistic woman. And so, of course, I did this deep internal analysis of why am I feeling this way? What is happening inside of me that I don't want to read? Because that is not normal. Like, I don't know I want this. And I kind of realized that there were aspects in some of the genres I was reading that I had a foothold in that lifestyle. And I wasn't seeing the greatest representation. I wasn't seeing the experiences that I had had. I wasn't seeing some of these different things. And I had friends that were saying the same thing and who even said that they wouldn't even read the romance genre because they just don't get it right. And then, of course, my Scorpio came out in full force and was like, me, like,
we're
hold
doing
there
this.
and let's try. And so when COVID hit, my daughter was not quite 2. And she was a preemie, and she's immunocompromised and had lung developmental issues at birth. So COVID hit, and that was scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Holy
I'm
shit.
never going outside ever again.
Yeah, we didn't leave our 4 walls for over a year. Like, we didn't open the front door, basically. My husband did to, like, grab groceries, and that was it. And we lived in a teensy dinky little apartment. It was like 700 square feet. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, my husband was in our bedroom for work during the day. I was in the living room with the kiddo because I had more flexibility and I didn't have a phone job. And I finally was like, if I don't do something for myself, there's going to be a problem. So I went to my 40 before 40 list, and on there was write a book because a lot of it was like travel here, go to experience this. I'm like, well, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'll try to write a book. I've always loved reading. Like, why not? This could be really fun. And even if it's the worst thing that's ever been like crafted in the world, it's going to be a really great party game for my friends to like laugh over while we drink. And to just laugh at this horrific mess of a fanfic that I made. And we'll love it. Except that's not how it went. I told my husband that I was going to do this. So basically after dinner, we swapped places and the bedroom was mine and the living room was his with the kiddo, and we swapped roles, and I just dove into writing. And quickly I fell in love with the process of being an author, being a writer. I am a plotter, not a pantser, which is not super common, I have found. That's probably my autism, but I do multiple outlines and research, and I do all sorts of extensive character development, and the whole process of it, of crafting that way, just really stuck with me. And I felt like addicted to it, of just thinking about how I could work these situations and what feelings I could evoke. And, how do you plan out suspense in a way that seed drops without the reader even realizing that these are important pieces until book 4 when you're like, oh my gosh, and your mind is blown.
I love that.
And so, yeah, I fell in love with it really quickly. Even if my first trilogy, I have it up for posterity's sake. Like, I keep it published only because I'm like, this is where you were. Don't forget that.
Yeah, don't forget where you started. Yeah.
Because it wasn't the greatest work I have done. It was definitely, I didn't know the business. I didn't understand so much of it, and I had to really learn. But I don't want to take it down because I do love this story, even if the writing's not great. And it's just kind of that thing to remind me, like, look at where you were and look at where you are.
Yeah.
Look at how much you've learned and grown.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So 20 books published.
Mhm.
Is there a particular storyline that you like better than the others?
My Temple Brothers series is my baby. It's my pride and joy. Many reasons. In particular, I'm pretty sure I was having a fever dream when the idea came to me. I was really sick and I was binging Criminal Minds, as one does.
Obviously. That is one of
Done.
the best series to binge.
And I was, obviously, like I had this horrific fever, the body aches. I'm living in my bedroom like a feral creature that belongs in a dumpster. And I finished a season, and it was like a real, heavy hitter of like a season ender episode. And I was like, you know what, man? You know what would make this better? Kink.
I mean,
Give me some BDSM.
Obviously.
Between Derek Morgan and Penelope Garcia and the baby girl
Oh,
and between
oh my God.
Spencer, who could say anything dirty to me, and I would just be like,
Done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Done.
Deceased.
Mhm.
And I'm like,
yes.
I need some Dom energy. Like, it's right there. It's right there. It's perfect. And so I'm like, I wonder how I could do that. And the idea just came to me, and I haven't been able to let go of it. I'm still working with some additional kind of like separate spin-off trilogies and one-shots and some things to do within that world. But yeah, that storyline is essentially my pitch for it is it's 50 Shades of Grey meets Criminal Minds set in a fundamentalist religious cult.
Mm.
Yeah. And for our listeners, I'm going to read the description. So it says, as the eldest temple brother, Leviticus, or Levi to those close to him, was determined to get himself and his brothers out of the toxic cult atmosphere they were raised in. Only there's one issue. It has been arranged that he would marry Ruth, the perfect woman in the eyes of the followers of Zion. She was perfect, submissive, compliant, and caring, everything he wanted. However, not like this. Ruth had been taught from a young age to bend to the will of her husband. After all, that was the way of a daughter of Zion, and she was nothing if not devoted. But there had always been a doubt in the back of her mind somewhere, wondering if there was something more to it. Was it really just the church's training that turned her into a submissive wife? Or is it something deeper that she had yet to discover in herself? She didn't dare tell her new husband that a part of her actually enjoyed giving him control. So, amen. Thank you so much. That's just the first book out of that series. So, listeners, you're welcome. You're welcome.
The series has 5 books, and one of the reasons I love this story so much, why it's so near and dear to me, is that I'm a domestic abuse survivor. I was held captive for 2 years, and I got to
Jesus.
take my trauma and write it in a fictitious way. And it was really healing for me to write through it, and to let the words be dirty on the page and to learn through my craft how to keep them dirty on the page, how to let the ugly of some of these situations rest there and not to try to polish it away and make it shiny.
Wow.
I wanted the ugly. I wanted the kind of rip your guts out kind of feeling that people who go through domestic violence and through narcissistic abuse and more have experienced. And it's been one of the most humbling and gratifying experiences of my life to meet women and men at my table who see themselves in different aspects of this story. And the fact that I can take a second with a reader and be able to, without standing in front of them even, and to be able to say, I see you, and have them feel seen is something that many of us don't get to feel who've gone through something horrific. And I think that is one of the most important things that I could ever do. And it's the one thing I never want to get rid of. It's the thing that keeps me writing.
That is incredible information to share. I mean, I can't imagine what that kind of life would have been like, but for someone to turn it into something as an emotional release, even probably a physical release, just getting words out, like out of your body and onto a page, I'm sure is therapeutic in and of itself. But Erika and I have had this conversation many times that like people have listened to the pod when we talk about mental health or we talk about divorce or we talk about any of the things. Like Erika's been diagnosed adult ADHD as well. And so it's, that's been a journey for her trying to figure out, different triggers and different things. And so, and for me, God knows what's wrong with me, probably a lot, but like, it's one of those things that I sweep under the
Nothing, you're
rug.
perfect.
Oh, obviously. But the conversation that we have on a regular basis are, fans or listeners coming up to us being like, this episode changed my life. And it's an episode. Like for us, it's like it's a hobby. It's a podcast. It's whatever. Once it's edited, it's like brain dump and out of my life. And cool. If people like it, great. If they don't, oh well. Like it's out there. So I imagine that someone in your shoes, having those people standing in front of you at a show or sending in messages, has to be incredibly on a level of healing, but also humbling. Like it is a great joy for people to actually hear the things that we put out, or I'm sure like the words that you put out is something that they can relate to, but then also something that might help them too. So that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that information. I want to ask questions, but I don't want to ask questions because that's horrifying.
You can ask questions if there's anything I'm comfortable with. I'll say so. No big deal.
Okay. I mean, what part of your life did that happen? Because you're remarried, I'm assuming. And so like what part of that aspect of your life is brought into the books aspect?
Is a lot of it was, oh goodness. I have no problem talking about this. It's very broad because it's systemic. It's not something that like, oh, everything's hunky-dory and good. And then one day, like a light switch flips and they're this, horrible person. You're like, what happened? It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. At least it didn't for me. And in a lot of stories that I've heard from others, that's not typically how it goes either. I was raised in a matriarchy, an incredible matriarchy of women. And I was raised to be strong and independent and fearless and brave. And that journey going through this and coming after it has been difficult and hard because I fell for someone who saw the wounds that I carried and knew how to rip them open and have me thank them for it.
Oof.
He saw exactly why I was hurting. I was a newly divorced woman and I was young. I was in my mid-20s. And I had also struggled with horrific infertility. I'd had a lot of miscarriages. I'd gone through years of fertility treatment. And my husband at the time and I weren't a good fit. We were kind of high school sweethearts who did a lot of growing up very quickly in adulthood and discovered that we weren't compatible. And that's okay, but it's still hard. But I moved cross country to just get away from the Midwest and everything I knew. I'm like, it's kind of like when a woman breaks up and needs a complete new haircut and hair color, everything changed.
And bangs.
Was it?
And bangs, yes.
Instead of bangs, I moved to New York. I just
Holy shit.
left on a whim. I bought a ticket and I flew out 10 days later. And very quickly, within a couple weeks, I met someone who saw exactly what my trauma was and how bad I wanted to be a mother and wanted and needed. And I had all these things I wanted. And he preyed on that. And it was something that I have not in my lifetime heard it get talked about a lot. I can't speak now. it's really not about women being weak or stupid. It is about a form of manipulation that happens that you can't see, like it's a language you can't speak.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know the words because it started with things like, "Oh, let's put your phone on my phone plan because that's way cheaper than us both carrying separate phone plans. Like, it's just a $20 add a line. Easy peasy, we save money. Oh, here, you don't like your living situation, why don't you move in here, and then you're not hurting to make ends meet?" And that made sense, and I was a grown adult woman who my parents couldn't tell me what to do. I'm 20, I think I was 26 when this went down. Which to me, I'm still like, my brain had only been developed for a year at that point.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
just a
Yep.
baby. And then it was, let's combine bank accounts so that we're paying bills out of the same account and it's not as difficult. And, oh, look, my truck broke. Or like first it was, you don't have to work anymore because I just got this new really great paying job and now you can be home with the kids, which is everything I wanted because he had children. And then it was, oh, my car broke down, so I need to borrow yours. And since you're home all day, you don't need a car. And then all of a sudden, I woke up one morning thinking everything was fine. And there were signs. He had anger. There were things. But I woke up one morning and it literally happened overnight. And I had no phone, no bank access. I had no car. And he had taken access to everything. He was gone
Holy shit, dude.
overnight, like a sneak attack. And I'm smarter than that. And it was really difficult to realize what had happened and to figure out how to maneuver out of something when you have no access
Yeah.
to anything.
Wow.
Was half a continent away from my family. I didn't have anyone. And it took me 2 years to escape. And escaping took 4 months of planning and preparation and trying to get contact to somebody to help me. And I did it, and I survived it, and that's what's in the books, is being strong enough to stand your ground, to accept the decisions you have to make while you are in survival mode, to accept that that doesn't speak to anything but strength, and anyone who tells you otherwise is wrong. And it talks about the trauma, both the incredible power you feel through adrenaline and etc. when you do make that decision, and the crash that comes after. And my books talk about the stillness, the quiet that you need after, the slowness of healing,
Mm-hmm.
and the acceptance that even if you are attracted to aspects that were used in abuse, when you're with someone who respects you at a fundamental human level and does everything out of love and consent, there is no abuse and there can't be. And I wanted to write the dichotomy of that.
Wow.
And so that's the Temple Brothers.
Yeah. Holy
Sorry,
shit.
that got really heavy now.
No, that I'm sitting there because like I mentioned before, like I filed for divorce and I had been with my ex-husband since I was 22 and I'm 36 now. And we split up like a year and a half ago, but looking at the relationship for like on this side of it and looking back and seeing the things that like or remembering the person I was before we started dating and then the person that I was when we were together and when we were married and trying to find that person again
Mm-hmm.
is like that's the part that's really hard because there's no part of me that like, wants to be with him or misses that part of my life. But like, yeah, it's like, and then, going through the divorce and stuff and like seeing him to like sign the divorce papers and stuff and seeing like how Like, how did I let this person dictate so much of my life? And like, because again, like you said, it's really slow. Like, it's not all of a sudden. It's like one day you wake up and I'm like, and my situation was not to the same extent as far as like actionable like control, but it was like there was no, like, he never told me I couldn't do something, but there were always consequences. So if I wanted to go out, um, he would, like, get really drunk and then he would show up at the bar and, like, accuse me of cheating on him. Or I would, like, later, I would, like, go out and, like, spend time with my friends or, he didn't ever want to go out and do things, and eventually I started just doing them myself, and then I would come home and he would be, like, angry or, like, pissy and, like, you know, because I didn't spend time with him or, like, just, like, I knew he was gonna come home and he was gonna be an asshole to me because he was frustrated at work or whatever, and I was, like, the receptacle for the negative feelings and just, like, not realizing the transition from a person that would say regularly, like, "No, like, that's not okay. I don't wanna deal with this," to a person where it was just, like, easier to not, and then and in my head, it was like, "Well, this is we're in a relationship, like, this is compromise."
Mhm.
And then being on this side of it and looking back on it and being like, yeah, like you said, like, it's not like I know that it's not weakness, but it's hard to remind myself that it's not weakness and to remind myself that I am not that person, and part of healing is trusting yourself not to make that same mistake again, not to, uh, see the signs earlier and trust yourself that you're not,
Mm.
you know because like you said, it's very, like it is one of those things like, "Oh, well, let's just move in together," or like, um, just, "Oh, like, why don't we just leave this vacation early?" Or, like, "Are you sure I need to go to this party?" or whatever, so it was just, like, very yeah, it's hard to see it, and I don't think that gets enough attention, that it's not all of a sudden, all at once, it's, like, slow and nobody sees it.
And it doesn't make you a weak person.
No.
Like, for me, I've felt in the past that I am easy to manipulate because I am gullible and I'm very trusting, and it is hard to program your brain to be more aware of, like, what your body is telling you and what your instincts are saying, and, like, what's the statistic? It's like 95% of the time your instincts are always right, but we fight against it because we have, whether it's how we were raised or it's our environment or the people that we're around or whatever. But for me, it's like I worry that I'm too easy to manipulate or that I'm super gullible and too trusting. And then I, get into certain situations that I'm like, oh, but like Erika said, this is compromise. This is a relationship. This is what you're supposed to do. And I'm even at 36 still learning how to not allow people to treat me a certain type of way and to actually allow my putting my own foot down thought processes of like, that's not how I want to be treated. And I'm going to say it and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to tell you and I'm going to tell myself that that's not how I want to be treated. But that basically, back to Elle's point, is like, it doesn't make you a weak person if you're in that situation and you're struggling to get out, or you've gotten out and you're still trying to find your identity again. It doesn't.
I would love to share with you. I went through that same bit of my journey in my healing process, and I had a therapist who, like, actually hit the nail on the head on what my problem was. because I found myself constantly in the relationship. I would ask things like, like I would get so upset with the person for reacting the way that they did, for not understanding that I needed space, or I needed, something, I needed this thing to do, or whatever the case may be that they had an issue with. And then I would get so frustrated because you keep fighting and you keep trying to talk about it because you don't understand what they're upset about.
Yeah.
And you just keep trying to make it work. And I had a therapist ask me, why are you trying to see the humanity in a person who only sees you as a commodity?
Oh,
Yeah.
Because I was struggling with walking away at that point. I couldn't
right.
set a boundary and hold it. I kept having to go back and try to talk it out and try to get to the bottom because I was handling things from a human aspect, because I'm a human being who has a need. I'm communicating said need. Why are you angry about said need? Because it's never about the fact, it's never about the little details of it. It's about whether or not
Right.
it should exist.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
argument is always just like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wait a second, why are you upset about this? Like, can you explain why it's a no? How many times are they able to answer?
Yeah.
Because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
Just is.
Yeah.
And then
We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I couldn't back down from it. And I'd be like, fine. You get yourself riled up and you're kind of like, fine, whatever. And you're like, I'm over it. I'm done. And then somewhere between 24 and 48 hours later, I'm like, and another thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't let it go because for me, that's not the human being that I am. That's not how I treat my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And relationships are relationships. Relationship building, that's not a romantic only thing. It is friendship. It is coworkers. It is, familial.
Yep.
It is all the different pieces of it. And they work very similarly.
Mm-hmm.
But I just couldn't stop going back to it because I wanted to see the humanity. Because if I don't see the humanity in others, how can I expect them to treat me that way? That's how I was raised. That's how I work. And that's how a lot of people that I've met work. But when you're dealing with somebody who can't get past their own childhood trauma to see that they have narcissistic tendencies that have now led to abuse because it's gone unchecked, there's no winning an argument with somebody who can't see reality anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it was a really uphill battle in the aftermath to learn these and to grow. And now that please be clear, I am not healed. I'm not sure that healing ever finishes when it comes to trauma and things, but in my books, some of these things that I have learned and that I have found strength and comfort in, that I have helped other people with, I wanted that to be in my fiction because we don't always see that in fiction. It's in the romance genre.
Yeah.
It tends to be, you have your toxic men, you're morally great. And please get me clear on this. I love a toxic man. Give me, because that's the escapism, and that's great. My issue was that in the BDSM world, I wasn't seeing the reality side.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
was seeing the shade side of, hang on, my dude, that's stalking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Consent for this. This is a good idea in theory and a bad one in practice. And there were aspects that I didn't agree with. And now that's why I said, I love a toxic man. Read what you want to read. You like what you want to like. My opinions are mine alone. But for me, I'm I want to see the healthy side of this because not all the time, but a good chunk of the time, there's nothing sexier than an emotionally intelligent man who can speak. And I'm that's the man I want in a book. I want a Spencer Reed meets Derek Morgan hybrid with the humor of
Yes.
And I'm just gimme, 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 gimme. And then, I'll go into a moment where I need to read a romantasy that has some dark demon prince that's gonna completely kill me in the end of the book. And I will die happily.
Yeah.
That's great. But I wanted the reality. I wanted people to see that BDSM often has to deal with trauma healing, communication, and emotional intelligence. And it has a lot to do with neurospicy brains finding structure. And
Oh,
I'm like,
yes.
yeah. So I'm like, I want to write about this. I want to write this side. I want to write the negotiations, the aftercare, the safe wording, my dom's safe word. My
Mhm.
dom's
The
like, hey, I'm not ready for this.
mhm.
Like, how sexy is that when
We've
a man says, I'm sorry, we need to slow down. I'm not ready for this. I'm just like,
Mm. Or when a
hot.
man is like, "Is it okay if I do this?" Like,
yeah,
proactively asking for consent, like,
my pants are
oh,
Oh
already
my
on the floor.
god. Yes.
in objection,
Mhm.
how he wouldn't like, he had it was obvious that the male main character had respect for the female main character. That is something that I always and I think it's something that was, like, because it was really lacking in my marriage, it's just a sore spot for me. And again, I'm like you, like, I've been reading, like, spicy Highlander romances since I was, like, 15.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I've read so many of them. But now at the
Mhm.
age that I am now, like, it is not enough for you to want me or to be attracted to me or love me. Like, like, my job, my career is really important to me, and if you don't respect the things that are important to me, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So to see a hero written that way, I really liked it. I was like, this is exactly what I wanna see.
We've also had we have an entire episode, and this is for future you, but for our listeners, we have an entire episode planned and researched for the neurodivergencies in sex, where someone with ADHD and has kinks and has these different wants and needs, and how ADHD or autism kind of ties into that. And very excited about that episode. Um, it's gonna be interesting. So
I also, like, going back to what you were saying before and sort of going back to, like, because I was not diagnosed until after my ex-husband and I were already split up, but there's this level of, like, not being able to trust your own reality or, like, "Oh, it's because your brain
Yes.
works differently," or, like, "You're just being sensitive," or, "That's not how that happened," or, "You're somehow, like, you're not normal, so you can't really trust your gut to tell you when something isn't right or not."
Internal
And
gaslighting.
that if I had to pick
yes,
the one thing that is still really difficult for me to, like, overcome, it's that.
Mhm.
And, like, I also have a really good therapist. I say it all the time, she hurts my feelings by telling me things that are true and correct. Um,
Mhm.
and she's like she told me, she's like, it really doesn't matter if something that you feel is right or not. That's your perspective and your reality, and that's totally valid.
Can I share
So it
2 things
doesn't
with you?
matter.
of course.
Mhm,
So, number 1, um, all emotions are valid. The act of feeling an emotion is always valid. What you do with it is not.
mhm,
So trust your feelings. That is okay. And the second thing I had to learn was that when I feel like I can't trust myself like that, it's because I have to acknowledge the fact that I don't know the language my brain speaks in.
mhm.
I don't recognize that language because it isn't the one I was raised to hear and speak.
Yes,
So
yes.
what I have to do instead of doubting myself, because I had the same problem there, I had it for a real long time of like, well, do I feel this way? Is this even, like, okay for me to feel this way, or am I
Yeah.
being toxic little gremlin right now?
Mhm. Yep.
Um, and instead, I had to say, like, "Okay, you're feeling that way. Why? What is it? What is the root of this issue? Was it a tone? Was it word choice? Was it timing?
Was it
What"
hormones?
Right, and if I can't find an answer to what this person said, did, whatever, that gave me this reaction, then I have to turn and be like, "Have you 1%ed yourself?" That's my newest thing right now is I 1% things. When I can't handle life, or more importantly, myself. I'm like, my skin is itchy. I can't control my hormones. I am too hot, too cold, and too stuffy. And like, I get overwhelmed.
My shirt has a bad texture.
Oh, the seam of my shirt or my, like, I just went through weight loss. And so I've lost 65 pounds. And my leggings, the seam in the leggings like twists.
Oh,
And I'm like,
yes.
death. Just death.
Yes.
Done
And
for.
so
Absolutely
I
not.
1% when I feel like, why am I out of control? And it's never with tears. It's always with rage, always
Mhm.
anger,
Yeah.
big mad, big fast. And I'm like 1%
Mhm.
it, and I have to turn like the overhead light off. I have to go wash my hands and like chill my vagus nerve. I have to change my shirt into something very comfy. I get my hair off my neck. That was a big one.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then I have to look at the fact that, like, okay, you were not at your best. And then I can go tell the person, like, hey, listen, hormones and life got the best of me, and I did not handle that the way that I should have. What I meant to say was, I don't like it when you use this word. Excuse me. Can you explain what you meant? Did you mean this or did you mean this?
Right.
And then I can communicate in a totally different way. Because 99% of the time, my husband's like, why would I ever mean that one? Like,
It's like,
that's a horrible thing to say.
Right.
yeah, it's like, but that's the first place my brain goes.
Mine too. It's been
So
really tough.
even if I know that that's not what you mean, I still need the like validation of you being like, I did not mean that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I saw this thing on Instagram and I think I sent it to Sarah and I don't remember if I did or not. But it was this woman basically like saying when you're having a bad day or like you're sort of like mid meltdown to ask yourself these 14 questions. And they're all like, have you had something to eat today? Have you had something to drink today? Have you stood up and like wiggled around? Is like, and it was like all kinds of stuff like that. And it was like a fun little poem. And I was like, first of all, I didn't need to be called out like that.
That's the meanest thing you've ever said to me. Thank you so much.
And also the difference between like, I was always raised taking responsibility for your actions or taking responsibility for your feelings or whatever was essentially just being like, I was wrong. I'm sorry. And then not sort of moving forward and not sort of seeing the reason why it was. And then, and again, being like, okay, so my brain works like this. It's not everyone's responsibility to work around it. It's definitely mine, but it's also okay to ask people who love you for understanding. Like, and people who actually love you are happy to do it. It's not even like, oh, okay, because you need this, I'll do this thing. It's like, I actively want you to feel safe around me and I actively want you to feel okay and to not feel bad or not believed or whatever. So please tell me. And that is
Erika, be kind, rewind to our conversation from this morning where Erika was like, in December, I realized that I've been a really shitty friend in 2025. And so I decided that I'm going to do better and I'm going to do these things. She was talking about she wasn't talking about me, but she was talking about these couple other friends. And she's like, I'm going to do better. And I'm just going to actively put in more effort and I'm just going to do these things. And she said both of these friends were like, you don't have to put in more effort. We love you. We know what's going on. We know you're busy. It's okay. So like Erika saying this out loud is lovely, but she's not even listening to it herself because even this morning she was like, I'm a piece of shit. What do you mean?
But Sarah, you did the same thing when we were trying to schedule. And I was like, go to
Oh,
you. She's
oh
like,
my
as
God.
soon as I get to the hotel, I'm going to email you this and I'm going to handle this. And I'm like, or take the time and go take a bubble bath.
Kill me.
Take a
Oh
breath.
God.
It's not that
yes.
and it's okay.
We also
It doesn't count when it's about me.
we have this saying about if you want we usually mean it in regarding men, but it's true for everybody. If you want to be in my life, you have to treat me better than my best friend. I have two best friends. One of them is my like childhood best friend and the other one is Sarah. And both of them, like I I went to Charlotte for my birthday, which is where my other friend lives. She planned the whole weekend. She took me to see a play. We went and looked at books and treasure. And the last time Sarah came to visit me, she put air in my tire and my car and cooked for me. I'm like, and it's like, and then, being like, that's really nice, but this feels weird. And they're like, you deserve it, you dumb hoe. And then it's sort of like just all of us together being like, okay, but now I get to do it for you. And they're like, it's like,
Ew.
Yeah.
Why?
exposure
Self-love
therapy.
is hard.
It is
It is.
hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Again, talking about this morning, I'm like, spending your entire adult life taking care of somebody else. And I'm also an oldest daughter, so I took care of
Same.
everybody else when I was also younger also. And then being like, oh, I actually also deserve the effort of making good, nourishing food for myself and not scrolling through like Instagram way later than I should and going for mental health walks, even if because like I would put in that effort for somebody else, but I won't put in that effort for myself. And I can see that now. But like when fucking come 6:00 in the morning, I'm like, ugh. But if but if Sarah was like, I will only go for a mental health walk if you go with me, I would get up and I would go with her.
It would be it'd be brainless for me to do that for my best friend.
Like no problem, like no questions asked at all.
Yeah. I got on the phone with my best friend, and she's been my best friend for 8.5 years now. I'm the very like autistic structured. I don't like to have dirty things in my house. I like things to be a certain way. I'm very that's how I am. And she is like my feral, like trash raccoon lighting things on fire. She's a veteran. She's literally in 2 of my books, 2 separate books with her name and her personality.
Yes, we'd love to see it.
There was nothing else I could do. She's like, you've already put me in a book. And I'm like, listen, you are the only person who can be this character's friend. I can only write you. Yes, I could give her a different name, but like, what would the fun of that be? And then I had the greatest moment at the last Boozy that I did, Boozy Book Fest in Kansas City, which was last summer that I did. I had a fan bring their book that I had signed at the last one, and they had my best friend sign it as a character.
Oh, yes.
And it was the first time it had happened. And she's my best friend. She's one of my assistants. She does editing for me. Like she's a big part of my brand. And she was just like, is this how you feel every time? And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's great.
Yes.
It's so great. But no.
That's amazing.
She's definitely, I feel like there's always kind of like the one friend and then the other friend that's a little more feral and will, go kick ass if they need to for you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been plenty of instances in just like Erika and I getting to this friendship level, and even from when we first started hanging out at book club in Waynesville, Missouri 100 years ago. It definitely sparked something in both of us that's, obviously led to this show and led to us like meeting and people and networking and doing all the things. So it's worth it when you have that friend who like understands the neuro aspect of your personality, even if, there's not a particular term like assigned to it, but it's still nice to have like that understanding from people. I am going to reel us back in just a little bit. That was a beautiful tangent, and I'm keeping like 99% of that. So I appreciate it. So with your writing, with putting some of your personal experiences in and having responses, especially from readers and fans, what helps you stay like creatively energized while balancing writing with your professional life? Or personal and professional life?
Well, let's see. That's such a complex question today in particular. What
Okay.
I would have answered in December is not what I would answer today. I feel like 2026, I feel like, at least for me, and I don't want to get too like political necessarily on here, but like the person, like I really ended 2025 like, phew, I got
Mhm.
through 2025.
Yeah.
We're in
Yeah.
2026. It's going to be a good year, guys. Like we're going to do all this stuff and da 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 da. And then immediately, like like the universe was just like, hold my beer. And it's just everything has gotten very intense very quickly. And it is a never ending onslaught. So I actually made the decision last month to take a small step back from writing because I needed to wrap my head around what was going on predominantly. And I'm going to just say this as like kindly and decently as I can. I'm in the middle of a book series right now set in Kansas City. And I love this book series, but it's about a toxic, illegal group of people who come to Kansas City and rent out a warehouse to conduct illegal things and turn on the citizens of the city. And a group of veterans have to go in and take them down. They have to like call each other up and like go back and like
It's a
fight back.
little real. It's a
It's a
little real.
little,
It's a little
it's a
real.
little
Okay.
real. And in trying to
Understood.
start book 4, I noticed very quickly that like the entire tone of my writing has shifted because like I'm not
I
the
believe
same
that.
person that I was 4 months ago when I wrote the last one.
Yeah.
So I took a hiatus from that and I announced it, much to some chagrin, but it's what I needed to do because I'm like, I can't write the last 2, the most important books in the series. I can't write them and have them be something they're not intended to be. So like I need
Yeah.
and I'll figure that out. But in the meantime, I got back down to the basics of what I love about writing, which is the storytelling, the craft of it, all these important pieces. And so I'm doing a bit of a pivot switch right now. And I'm actually going to be releasing a new pen name and writing some new genre stuff.
Ooh.
I love that my Elle Sparrow brand is all about healthy BDSM, healthy relationships in a really messed up world. And like my books are dark romance, but the world is dark, the relationships aren't. And that's what I wanted to write. But sometimes that can feel a little constraining as an author. It doesn't give me the ability to
Yeah.
like stretch myself into, new and interesting venues of writing. So I'm going to be starting a new pen name that's it's a little bit of a catch-all in romance, but it'll be smutty romance that is monster fantasy, and I want to write cozy BDSM.
Ooh. Okay.
I want to write like practical magic meets kink and like not as spicy where it's like 3 chili peppers, but it's like the words and the structure and it's like cute and cozy or like Gilmore Girls meets kinky stuff.
Okay. Okay. I like it.
Yeah. So I'm focusing on that. I'm writing my first monster book right this second, and it's really keeping me invigorated to write something completely different. That's something that I think it's a little more escapism that I think all of my readers would enjoy today.
One of my favorite books ever is Halfling. I don't remember who it's by,
Mhm.
but it's a very cozy monster romance.
Mhm.
If you haven't read it, I
I
recommend it.
haven't. I'll put it on my list.
It's
Uh,
S.E. Wendell.
Yes. There's a whole series. I haven't read the whole series, but the first one I read was that one, and it's just so cute. It's just so sweet.
It's
like
really good.
yeah, it's a human and then a half orc, half human. And it has all of the like, he rescues her and forced proximity. And they like, it's like
The
a
obsession.
burn. And
Oh,
then
yeah. Yeah.
they have a happy ending. It's exactly the type of like cozy, you know exactly how it's going to end the whole time. It's
Yeah.
exactly
Yep.
what I want when I read a cozy romance.
Yeah. This one I'm working on right now is a little more rom-com-y than cozy. But it's a human woman who signs up for a dating app at her friend's behest and very begrudgingly.
Mhm.
And there's like a whole interview process and like all the things you fill out and stuff because she's like, I'm not touching Tinder or Hinge or Bumble. I'm not touching
Mhm.
it. And she ends up in this dating app that is like the reason they have the surveys is because it weeds out humans for the magical
Oh.
folk that live under their noses. And so she goes on a series of dates. She's got 5 suitors. And it's just kind of this band of chaos. So we have, like, our werewolf named Theo, who is he's like a bull in a in like a china shop, and he's constantly bumping into things and things. But, my favorite character right now is Simon, who's a librarian, and he's a kraken. And he's constantly, like, his, like, suits are busting at the seams a little bit, and he'll, like, text her with book quotes that, like, express how
Oh.
he is feeling in the moment and whatnot, and he's
Oh, I
just this
love that.
big nerd, and she, like, hugs him, and she thinks he's, like, real muscular and buff, he's really attractive, but when she hugs him, he's super squishy, and she's like, "What is happening?" And she doesn't realize anything's wrong until one of her dates goes to open the door for her and rips the door off the car, and she's
Oh,
like,
God.
What?"
What is happening?
Like, "It's
Mhm.
okay, we just need to be quiet because he thinks she's not a human." And she's like, "What is happening?" It's a whole kind of comedy of errors.
I am in
Okay.
love with her already.
And we have
That is definitely something I would love.
an fae creature who is, like, kind of like Puck from Midsummer Night's Dream. He's, like, definitely,
Oh.
like, this little prankster,
Mhm.
always causing chaos. But it just felt like fun to write
Mhm.
like that.
I love it. That's awesome. So with how do I explain it? If there is, like, ideas that you have, like this particular, is this gonna be a series, or do you think it's gonna be a standalone?
Standalone. I think the whole point of it is to be something you read to get out of the chaos of whatever life is giving you in that moment, and then you feel good, and you put it down, and if you feel like it, you pick it up again when life gets hard. Like,
Okay.
it's your whole, like you don't wanna start a brand new series when your mother-in-law is coming over for Thanksgiving in the morning and is gonna bitch about your stuffing all day. I
Ugh.
need something short,
Oh,
sweet, and
God.
memorable.
I feel like that's gonna hit people in the gut way more than we want to admit. Oh, God. That's brutal. Okay. So with the pen name then, is this gonna be do you think that that's gonna be kind of the theme is you wanna do more things that are just, like, quick button up, easy story not easy, but, like, more things that are just that cozy romance type of thing? Or do you think there will be series involved with this new pen name too?
There will be series. I have one planned. I have one plan, and it's kind of the opposite of everything else, but it doesn't fit the Elle Sparrow brand because it's, like, all of the dark and culty vibes of Elle Sparrow in monster world a little bit,
Mm.
Okay.
about a woman who makes a deal with the devil and turns out she made a deal with 7 of them, not 1, and she gets ripped and dragged down to hell to serve her time. And it goes into the political powers of hell versus heaven and what the actual truth behind it all is.
Wow. Also something I would read.
Also something I would read. I started watching Has Been Hotel, and I was like which kinda has a similar vibe, except it's Has Been Hotel is not really a romance, it's just a ridiculous cartoon, but it's sort of the same situation, like, angels are all assholes, and
In this one, she makes a deal with the 7 deadly sins, and it turns out she becomes the 8th. And she ascends the throne as they tear down the political structure of hell and find out when she gets snuck into heaven that it's all like smoke and mirrors. Like, it's not what you think it is. It's like it's a bad on
Uh,
an apartment to make it look nicer when there's smoke damage behind it.
mhm.
I love that.
I will be reading that.
So there
100%.
is some serious stuff that I'm looking into, and then I'm trying to but, like, with that series, I'm so excited about it that I'm like, "I need to sit on this for a minute and really plan this out and make sure that it's got all that unctuous goodness that I need in it." Because that's the kind of book that I want to devour. It's got Criminal Minds vibes with, like, heaven and hell demonics. Like, please, sign me up.
Mhm.
I'm like, "I wanna read this book, so I need to do it justice."
That sounds wonderful. So, one question that we do like to ask, especially for our indie authors, but when we have guests on, with your writing, like looking back to when you first started writing, like, pandemic happens, what do you know now that you would want to tell your past self?
Oh, goodness. Let me weed through my ideas on that one. There's so much. Um, get involved in your local community now. Don't wait 2 seconds longer. I waited years to, like, get involved with book signings, to learn that there was an author community in my city. I didn't reach out to that. So any person who's pursuing writing or thinking about it or just has that little tickle in the back of their brain, like, "Maybe I could write a book," get involved with your local community now. We have incredible communities they need your voice and the resources available to you and the way that you can do things without having the big budget. You don't have to just go through a publisher. You can go indie if that's what you want. And if you don't know how to do these things, Skillshare. There's so many things that you can learn. If you don't know how to do it, then, like, go find, like, a YouTube tutorial and do it with a friend. Like, really get involved in your community. If I
Yeah.
had done that years before, I think I'd be in a different place now. I became the vice president of KC Book Beat last fall, and so I've been working with them as an organization and working to, reach our community, which has been phenomenal. The class I was going to teach was how to turn your writing hobby into a business,
Oh, yes.
which I'm very passionate about helping indie authors learn the business and learn how to tweak that system to fit what their personal needs are. Like, it's customizable. There's so many things that you can figure out how you wanna do and how you want to reach your viewers. But there's so much knowledge to be had. Every time I get
It's
together at a book
fantastic.
signing, I learn something from someone.
So that's a good question then. What kind of, like, routines or rituals help you move from, like, your initial idea to your, like, initial draft? What kind of things help you?
I'm really autistic in this department. I love a spreadsheet probably more than my husband.
You're
Like,
talking to
We're
two
here for it.
people that fucking love spreadsheets.
so I have an author hub on my Google Drive of all of these documents that are all put in nesting folders that are all connected to, like, different spreadsheets are connected to Word docs, which are connected to Keeps lists that are connected to these things over here. Um, my favorite way to come up with book ideas, and I'm bad at it because I only do it, like, once a quarter at most. I have to, like, rein myself in. I just get online and I go to the pre-made book cover sites online that you can go to, and I
Yeah.
just scroll. I don't buy anything. I just find a cover that I'm like, "Oh, I could totally write a book about blah, 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 blah," and I write it down.
Yeah.
And then I just keep track of them, and I'll, like, even keep the cover as, like, inspo of, like, this is the vibe I'm going for with this book and whatnot, and then it goes to, like, step 2, which is to put it into the templated outline structures, and then you start filling out the outlines, which I have a 7-step outline process, and that goes into character development, which is my favorite part of the writing process because I built a dating game for my
Oh,
characters. I have
okay.
120 questions that I ask every character in the book, even the side characters. And it's just, like, ridiculous stuff, important stuff, back and forth. Like, if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? and they have to answer it like it's a dating app. And it reminds me of like I don't know, at least 10 years ago, OkCupid had like all
Oh,
questions.
yeah. Yeah.
And I make my
Absolutely.
characters answer those questions, and it gives me all of this info to put into the books that make them, three-dimensional characters. Where like I have one guy in a book that like constantly gets pissed off that they never have brownie mix in the house. Like he gets vehemently angry about it because he's just like, why do I forget to get brownie mix every single time? He wants brownies. That's all he wants. And anytime somebody offers him something else, he's just like, man, I wish that was a brownie.
That's
And it's
Erika's
funny.
soulmate right there.
So, but it's a really, what is the first thing you notice about a guy or a girl is one of the questions on my list, which really helps to inform like how they view things and like what they notice first.
Yeah.
I have questions like, if you had a spare room in your house, what would it be used for?
Okay. What is a question that you get like the most mileage out of, that like you is like a relatively, because like those questions obviously tell you a lot about a person, but
Mhm.
what are ones that you started using that you wouldn't think actually inform as much as they do?
Let's see. Okay. Um, what was the worst gift you ever got? That one is so informative because it tells you a lot with however they answer. It tells you, do they have an issue with the gift, the way the gift was given, or the way
Mhm.
the gift giving situation was handled? And if they got this gift, why was it such a bad gift? Why did it give you this feeling? Which tells you what do they value in life? What do they value in relationships outside of romance? The romance of it, like these things are important. That question has been more informative than I ever thought it would be. I thought it was just a cute question at first.
Yeah, that makes
Mhm.
sense.
When you dig
Um,
deeper, there's so much in it.
Also, do you ask every single question to every single character, or do you just
Yeah,
pick certain questions? Okay.
every single question. It helps me establish their voice. I know how they talk.
Okay.
And
That is
sometimes
super
I'll get my
cool.
friends together and we'll have a couple drinky drinks and I assign them each a character. And then I play the MC of the dating show and ask the questions.
Oh, that sounds
I
so much fun.
love that.
I'm actually I'm hoping to set up a get together for my fan base later this year, like in the summer, where my fans can help me do my character development for an upcoming book and they can each pick a character to be a part of creating the character.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
like Goosebumps. It's like Goosebumps for adult erotica.
Yes.
That
There
is.
really needs to be more of
It
like
really does.
choose your own adventure, but erotica.
Yes.
Exactly.
That sounds fantastic.
If money didn't matter, what would you be doing with your life right now? I think that's my favorite question to ask them.
Ooh. That's a good one.
I don't really know what my answer would be about myself.
The
Mine's
fun part of
travel.
it, the fun part of it is when the character doesn't give you a real answer.
In
Because
what
especially with men,
aspect? Do explain.
especially with men, you can ask them that, and we all know that guy who's like, "Whatever the fuck I wanna do, but it is."
Yeah,
Like, straight,
yes.
because he's got some trauma to heal of his own, and he's not gonna be super real and vulnerable about it, which teaches you how high are his hackles? How many walls does he have up?
Mm.
I love that.
Mhm,
I so I just thought of this question.
mhm.
How much does writing, like asking those questions about your characters and like analyzing your characters, inform you about other people? Like, is it easier for you to like see things for what they are? Like you said, like that guy was like, whatever I want. And you're like, oh, well, because I really thought this through for like you sort of can can see things for what they are instead of what they're trying to portray them as.
Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things that has taught me in how I go about life and interpersonal relationships is reminding myself that I do not live rent-free in other people's minds. I am not a mind reader. I do not know what you have gone through, and therefore the only way for me to find that out is to ask with kindness, compassion, and empathy in an attempt to actively listen and understand, not to dictate how they should change. And so I try really hard to approach people that way as much as I can. And like, I'm a human being. I'm not a perfect person. I can be a peppermint petty, and I can absolutely not be ready for that conversation sometimes.
Well, conversely, that same question, does it allow Penny, fuck off kindly, please get out, go. That same question for you is like, does it also help you reflect on like where you are at emotionally right now? Because yes, you're writing these characters and you're trying to get their personality built from this questionnaire. But if you are going through like certain things in your life, like, or certain societal things that are happening as far as like, you know, the last few months, do you see some of these questions reflecting and your answers changing based on like what's going on around you?
Yes, I have seen a change, and learning how to pivot through that is really important and can be challenging for me. I swear, most of the time I tell people I'm just Ross Geller standing on a stairwell saying pivot, like 99. That is who I am as a human. But sometimes, like, I always do my character work and my outlines, and I have to sit on them for a certain amount of time. And I always give it 24 hours at a time, and if 24 hours after I do that and I go and I review it, it seems to have been influenced by my own personal experience in a way that wasn't intended, I have to ask myself why. And if I start crafting some like contrite backstory or convoluted backstory that was never a part of my original plan for the book, then I'm doing too much. I need to check myself, and I need to go and like, I literally delete all the answers, and I wait another 24 hours, and I will literally like meditate over this character and be like, this is who I am. This is what I know. Where am I at in my brain with this? And then I just kind of let it happen. And if it gets really bad, then I call my editors and I'm like, hey, let's get on a Zoom and like talk about this character because I can't figure him out.
Yeah.
When push comes to shove, use your tools and your resources and the people in your life to help you.
Yes. I was just thinking like that's a level of self-awareness that I do not have. Well, I don't exercise very often. So I clearly have work to do. Oh,
I've been in
But
therapy
it's all a
for
work in
very
progress,
long
right?
time. It's
yes.
always a work in progress. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before, that like having a therapist in your toolbox doesn't mean that you are broken in this moment, even though that's like the traditional reason for going to see a therapist is like, I'm broken, this person's broken, I need help, whatever. But also realizing that therapy, whether it's group therapy, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's, you know, AA, whether it's whatever it is still a form. It's still a tool in your toolbox to get through this thing we call life. Because there are so many things like, you know, even on the religious aspect where they have people come in for marriage counseling with their pastor to make sure that they are, you know, a compatible couple. I don't necessarily believe in that, but I do believe in like getting married is a huge life shift, and having therapy or some kind of therapeutic tool to get you through that life shift is important. And whether that is writing, whether it's songwriting, whether it's podcasting, whether it's just going to the beach with a book for 3 days straight and getting sunburned, fine. But therapy is still a tool to use throughout different life changes.
And I think it's important when you are trying to utilize tools like that to remember to come back to the community where and how
Yes.
you can. And I think we've all seen like a real explosion of like, it's an attempt to kind of course correct back to community because with the pandemic, we all became an audience of one in a way that I don't think anybody could have anticipated. And then with
Yeah.
Yep.
TikTok, all the different things, like it's just you and a screen, even if you're in a room surrounded by people.
Yep.
And that can be
Yeah,
really tough.
social media plays a huge aspect in that as well because it does allow people to have their alone time, but it also isolates them from things that, while I may want to be alone, people are still important. Like,
Doing things like book clubs, doing things like podcasts, doing like that where you
Mhm.
come back to the community because it's a safety place that you can go to and be seen and use resources and be yourself and be taken care of. Being able to, I think, yeah, I was expecting to talk about like my specific books and like which book has this and da 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 da. But I think connecting as women in a world where women often feel so alone, this felt like a little healing for me
Yeah,
to
me
be
too.
amongst
yeah.
the people that I barely know. And it was
I'm
Yeah.
glad. I mean, it is something we were just talking about it this morning. Like, this podcast has brought, I feel like it has brought things to other people, maybe not necessarily on a healing level, but on a not feeling alone level, which is usually the comments that we get. But just for Erika and I to have like this baseline hobby and shared interest, and then also being big readers, and also, like Casey Bookbeat has been a huge community for us too. That community is a solid word. Like, I would definitely use that again in the future for even for the pod in the indie author world. Like, it is something that we need and that we look for. And yeah, I think I just kind of needed this episode to happen. So
I'm so
thank
glad.
you.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a joy.
All
All right.
right,
I'm going to try and do
Erika,
the
before I pass
outro.
out.
And I'm famously bad at it. So okay, that's it for us, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to join our Discord. There will be in the show notes, we'll have where you can find Elle Sparrow and like her socials and her website and everything. Check out our link tree. We have affiliate links for Primal Queen, Everyday Dose,
And forever.
and Forever.
Also, don't forget about our Good Boy special that we just
Oh,
posted.
yes.
Erika and I are willing to send you either a voice note or a video calling you a good boy. Buy it for your friend at work because it's hilarious and they'll probably like it a lot more than they'll admit. So, you're welcome in advance.
And as always, we love you. And without you, we would be potting into the void.